Good morning. Hi, everybody. Welcome to continuing coverage of the Virtual World Cup. We are in week 3, the final week of pool play. And very excited to be bringing a great matchup between Team Ghana and Kenya today. My name is Will Anderson, and obviously I'm here on behalf of the Collins Coalition, COCO, who has organized this really awesome event. Hey, everybody in the chat, already seeing some support for Team Ghana. I think I understand why that support is so strong for Team Ghana, but we'll get into that in just a minute. So obviously I'm live a little bit early, about 10 minutes, so that we can just go through what's going on here with the Virtual World Cup. So you see the broadcast schedule. We are coming in at the third matchup of this weekend, Ghana versus Kenya. We've already had New Zealand versus the Philippines and Pakistan versus South Africa. Those matches taking place earlier. And if we just cut right to week 3's results, you can see the Philippines came out on top by a score of 13-12. Lord Livgin can check me on that. I think that is accurate. And Pakistan with a 17-8 win over South Africa to cement just dominating performance in their 3 weeks of group play. So because we do have a little time before the match begins, I can just take you guys through the results from the first 2 weeks of pool play. You can see here right off the bat, surprising results began right off the bat here with Kenya beating Singapore 13-12. That was a pretty big upset. Pakistan upsetting Nigeria 14-11. But I guess as we've now learned, Pakistan winning against any team can't really be considered an upset anymore. They're definitely one of the stronger performers in this tournament. India with a mild upset over Malaysia, although we've learned that Group A is extremely, has a lot of parity to it. Each team in that group has 1 win and 1 loss. And Thailand with a pretty solid win over the number 1 seed, the UK. So right off the bat in week 1, a ton of upsets, exciting results. And then that was no different in week 2, where Singapore, which we just talked about losing in week 1 to Kenya, who we're going to see playing today, came back with an absolutely mammoth win over Ghana, 21-4. So far, that's the most round wins that any team has recorded. Pakistan, again, with an even more impressive win over Australia, one of the strongest teams coming into the event. And the Philippines with a bit of an upset over Ireland, I would say. 15-10 win for them. The Philippines winning earlier today, so they basically have set up a situation where if the United States defeats Ireland, which is the matchup that's going to be following this one over on Coco Scrabble's Twitch channel, the Philippines could make the bracket of 8. So again, here's where we're at in week 3. Still early. The bracket is really not set yet. So if we just go and look at the pool play standings first before we bring up the tiebreakers, we'll just look at the overall standings here. So group by group, what is happening here? In Group A, every team is 1-1. So those two matchups, which are going to be taking place tomorrow, I believe both on my channel in the morning in the USA, and hopefully watchable times for people around the world. India is playing Thailand and Malaysia is playing the UK, and whichever are the winners of those two matchups advance to the bracket. So from Group B, you see Pakistan definitely advancing with a really strong 3-0 effort in pool play. And then also tomorrow, Nigeria will play Australia, and the winner of that matchup will make it to the bracket, and the loser will be out, which is a shocker, given that those two teams are two of the strongest Scrabble-playing nations around. Okay, so let's go to Group C, which is the matchup that you can see is highlighted right now between Kenya and Ghana. Already seeing a lot of Team Ghana in the chat, and the reason for that is that it really helps the Singaporean team if Ghana comes up with a win today. And the reason for that is related to tiebreakers. So we have now, I just brought up a bunch of other numbers. Those numbers are the individual game wins that each team has recorded. And that is the tiebreaker when two teams have an equal record. So you can see, because of Singapore's huge win over Ghana last week, 21 round wins in that matchup, they have a great chance of winning every tiebreaker that happens. Basically, they're almost a lock. Assuming Ghana defeats Kenya today, that is great news for Team Singapore. It basically punches their ticket into the bracket. On the other hand, if Kenya wins today over Ghana, that forces Singapore to defeat Canada. And you can see, I brought up the matchups in the upper right corner of your screen. You can see that Singapore will face Canada later in this weekend. We'll go back to the broadcast schedule later to see when that will take place. But this matchup is Kenya has to win to preserve their chances, and then Kenya will still be reliant on a Canada win over Singapore in order to make the bracket. And then Group D, you can see the matchup between the Philippines and New Zealand already took place, so those win totals are a little bit inflated. And basically, the USA is almost a lock to make the bracket. The only question is, will Ireland be the second team out of that group by defeating the USA later today, or will the Philippines sneak in? So again, the bracket is really not set. The only team that is set in stone right now is Pakistan on your upper right part of the screen. All the other spots up for grabs. You can see that the winner of India and Thailand will get a spot on the left. The winner of Australia and Nigeria getting another spot, and then a whole bunch of other spots up for grabs, Malaysia and the UK on the right. So you can see down in the lower right-hand corner, Kenya does have a chance to secure a spot in the bracket with a win today in this matchup, but they will need help from the Canada and Singapore matchup later. Hopefully that's clear. Any questions, feel free to ask. It is definitely complicated, but also for those that like, playoff scenarios and stuff like that. Evans Clinchy made a great post about how much fun it is to kind of workshop that. I myself love playoff scenarios, and it's really fun to see who is going to fill these 8 spots in the championship bracket. Thanks, Jeremy. That's kind of you to say. So, all right, let's do the matchup breakdown. So again, today's matchup, Ghana versus Kenya. You see the teams on the left and the right. These two teams have played both Singapore and Canada in the first 2 rounds. That's because they are in the same group, of course, as all teams are that are playing so far. And you can see these statistics courtesy of Weibin, who is in the chat. Thank you very much. You can see that basically tough going against really strong teams of Singapore and Canada. And the average score actually a little bit in favor of Ghana per game, but look at how close the average opponent scores are. These two teams have played Singapore and Canada have scored almost the exact same amount against them. Slight edge on bonuses to Ghana and a slight edge on blanks drawn, which is more of a luck thing, to Kenya. So just a quick, let's see, where's my statistics that I compiled? There we go, my 5-point challenge. So we are getting close to game time here. My 5 points that I got from the data, again, from the tournament statistics kit. Really, really great. Weibin, feel free to plug that in the channel. So you can see Ghana with a really tough loss to Singapore, but it is not due to Edwin Boama, who is averaging 455 per game and allowing 442. That's the only member of Ghana with a higher scoring average than his opponents. But for Kenya, David Njenga with an incredibly good opponent average score of only 399.2. That is the 6th lowest opponent average of all players, so definitely a strong defensive player, David Njenga, for Kenya. And then I was intrigued to discover that the number 1 seed on Kenya, Patrick Litunya, has only played 2 games so far, but the super sub, Martins Mutahi, who has played the other 8 in his place, has not been the reason for any struggles Kenya has had. He's gone 4-4 plus 49. So really nice job by Martins Mutahi filling in for the top seed. All right, so games are going to be starting. So why don't we just cut right to the matchups, and let me get my polls up so you can just look at the round 1 matchups that you see there. I think at any minute now, the players are going to be starting their games. So let me get this poll up and let everybody decide what will be our streaming matchup in round 1. So voting 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the chat, you can decide on who you'd like to see. Pretty good matchups. I think some of the players are still yet to log on, so there's plenty of time. Ezekiel Marquez versus Patrick Latunya. That's the number 2 seed on Ghana and the number 1 seed on Kenya. So that is definitely a good choice to start with if you guys want. But we also have a couple of other matchups that stand out. Josh Manyasa for Kenya has been pretty impressive. So it looks like a pretty strong 4 votes for Ezekiel and Patrick. So basically, I think those 2 players are both logged on. So I'm just going to pop over here and we'll keep the poll going as we wait for the players to get underway. So yeah, I think that may have been the issue with Patrick's low game total. I think he's having some connection problems. So hopefully he will be good to go today. So yeah, it does look like option number 2 is what we will go with when the players get underway. So we are just a minute after the start time. So I see most of the players logged on, but not all. So, okay, strong result in the poll. So I think we'll stick with Z and Patrick. Hopefully both of them are on. But in the time being, we will close that poll and we'll see if we can just... How about this? Okay, so we will wait for the matchup that just won the poll to get underway. But while we do, let's just have a quick look at Michael Kwao, who was the organizer of Team Ghana. Definitely a very prominent figure in Ghanaian Scrabble. And he is up against Chris Okiyoma of Kenya. So again... you can query the rosters at any time by typing in the chat. So you'll see who the players are. So if we get any questions, who is playing, that is a great way to quickly find out. Those 2 commands in the chat. So I see Ezekiel online, and I guess we're going to find out whether Patrick is going to be having connection issues or not. So far, odds are it's not looking good. He's not on at the start time, but yes, I actually do have all the rosters as commands. If people are wanting to know, you just have to do the country code of the team that you would like to figure out who it is. Okay, so you can see right off the bat, Coven was played. And it was played in a pretty defensive spot, right? You could have seen this word be played here with the C on the bonus square for a fair amount more points. Comment in the chat, looking sharp. I think this is the appropriate time to announce that, yes, for those that have seen my increasingly shaggy appearance over the last few months, I'm looking good. I got a new haircut, and the barber, the stylist, my hairdresser was my sister-in-law, Becky. Thank you so much, Becky. I'm looking good. Don't think I don't know it, and all the viewers know it too. That I'm just looking sharp today with my nicely coiffed hair. So thank you so much, Becky, and everybody appreciates it, especially the people that have to look at my little face in the corner. So unfortunately, every game is underway except the one that won the poll. So we'll just stick with this matchup a little bit and see what happens between these 2 players. So hopefully we can figure out what's going on with the 5th and final player for Kenya, whether that's going to be Patrick Litunya or the super sub Martins Mutahi, who I don't see either of those players online right now. Anyway, let me get ready for Michael versus Chris, and we'll try to get set up here. So Coven was played. Yeah, that was definitely, it is a hallmark of, I had heard that some of the Nigerian players play very defensively. We'll see if that's going to be a trend where we see really defensive play. Nice bingo there of Arnaudo. I saw that was pointed out in the chat. Of course, the issue with Arnaudo is that it gives up really big counterplay, but you have to play Arnaudo there, of course, making the Hota hook. Let me try to get caught up with this. Okay, I think, caught up. So this matchup is between Michael Quao, who I think is the 5 seed, and Chris Okiyoma, who is the 4 seed. Okay. Almost ready. And this is... Okay, now I'll be ready once we go to the feature game screen. Okay, so Impro was played. That looks like a pretty nice way to score with that rack. I had identified Primo as a decent play in that spot, which is an anagram of Impro, which I think is... I mean, does Impro just mean improvise? Yeah, I was going to say improvise would now score a ton of points. So I see Ezekiel Marquez is still not started his game. I guess he does not have an opponent available. So hopefully we can figure that out. Yeah, there obviously improvise going all the way down would be a great extension to Impro. But even failing that, if you can manage to find a play ending in V, which is harder than it sounds, a word ending in V is not that common, but it would score a ton of points in that spot. As we see B tier go down, that certainly I would have expected maybe just BEE right here, like beat in that spot scores pretty well and at least keeps the T. B tier doesn't look like it hits too many premium squares. All right, so back over to Chris. He's got bingos, and at least one of them does play. So we'll see if he spots the obscure word. I think Mwisted will play with DE. He spotted it. Okay, that was pretty quick. Nicely done. So we'll just cut to this screen now. So it looks like Chris with an 100-point lead already over Michael in the early going. So now we are all set up with the full functionality of this screen, which includes Quackle. So you can see now when I switch to Quackle, please note that the axes of ISC will switch as well. So you can see that the notation that Quackle says 11C Expo, that's going to be correct while the Quackle screen is up. But once I cut back to the regular ISC screen, it will revert to the ISC axes so that you can see I've added a little bar underneath the score area that shows you the last move. So it says Chris O move L3 Mwisted. So that is, I mean, ISC's axes are inverted. So hopefully it's helpful when the Quackle screen is up for the axes to actually reflect what Quackle is saying. Yeah, it looks like Expo is a pretty good idea. Oh, it looks also like Patrick has logged on. So we can, given that this game is, well, it's not going to be a blowout if Michael finds Expo. He'll only be down a little bit. But if that game starts up, that was definitely the overwhelming winner of the poll. So we will cut to that. All right, so it has. So this game, we were invested enough in this game, but let's cut back to the winner of the poll, which was a really overwhelming winner between Ezekiel Marquet and Patrick Latunyé, the number 1 seed of Team Kenya. So this was the overwhelming poll winner, and we'll stick with this game for a little while. So Ezekiel with a ton of vowels to start, and he dumps as many of them as he can with a very commonly seen Collins vowel dump of awa. And I'm sure that some kind of bingo will go down here, I think. Even just a 7 parallel to awa. I'm looking to see if there isn't anything better. But would be a shock to see Patrick not get a bingo down here. Nervate, Vintage, there's definitely something, but the question is there a really good overlap somewhere that is most defensive? So we will stick with this game. This with the number 2 seed of Ghana, Ezekiel Marquet, the number 1 seed of Kenya, Patrick Latunyé. Glad that he is online and that his connection is cooperating for now. So thank you to all who are in chat for joining and watching. Definitely appreciate it. So again, if you were not here at the outset of the broadcast, this is a really important matchup for Kenya. They have to win to preserve any chance of making the bracket of 8. Right now, we are still wrapping up our 3rd week of pool play. There are 16 teams, and we're going to be winnowing that number down at the end of this weekend to just 8. The 2 best performing teams from each of the 4 groups will advance to a bracket style tournament. And Kenya not only needs to win this matchup, but they also need Canada to defeat Singapore later this weekend. And that is their ticket into the bracket of 8. So first things first, Kenya's got to take care of business here. Patrick taking a while on this move. He's got the blank. He's got bingos that he can play. He's definitely looking for the best positional bingo that he can. He plays Nervate, which is a good score. The issue with Nervate is that it takes an E hook, which just got obscured really quickly by continued vowel problems for Ezekiel. He plays Luau. Not a great situation for you when your first 2 plays of the game are awa and luau, but there's still plenty of time for him to fight his way back to stronger racks. So yeah, Nervate, the E hook of Enervate doesn't look like it's going to be an issue. That could have potentially bitten Patrick playing that word in that way, just because any word with an E coming down would have scored a lot. Also, Nervate does expose an E in the double-double lane. So a couple of defensive issues with that play, but it does score nicely, and it's a good find for sure. So it's back over to Patrick after Zeke's play of Luau. Suggestion of potentially just GAE, gay, right here, guy, right there. That would be a pretty nice way to score and leave decent bingo tiles. And as luck would have it, I think the scores, I can only go to my other Quackle screen when the scores reach triple digits, thanks to the formatting oddities of ISC, but I will share that that play is a strong option, according to Quackle. And he makes that play. It's a good idea. Yeah, the leave isn't that good, but it's probably as good as it gets, and he actually can't score very many points on this board. So the fact that he's getting as decent of a leave as he can get and the combination of this board having no scoring opportunities, 18 points, which he got for that play. Sorry, I'll put the last. You see now his last move is now visible. That's actually about as well as he can score there too. So it's just kind of a tough position, and he's done decently well to make that play. I think that looked like the best option available. So the good news for Ezekiel is that he's drawn an S. Oh, very interesting play. That is interesting. So he sort of blocked his own S hook. Maybe that's an okay play. I don't know. What do we think about that? Maybe that's roughly as good as he could have done there. So he blocked the Awa's hook a little bit, partially, not completely. You can still play things ending in a vowel and then an S, and he set up another spot for his S here. That seems okay. I don't know. Hard to imagine a much better play existing there, but I would have liked maybe to open another spot completely to this Awa's hook, right? Like if he were to just have played ETH right here, he would score a couple more points. It does create an E hook, and then he would have two spots on different sides of the board. Patrick plays filtered. He had filleted on his rack, and he spots the bingo that goes down through the R. So now, pretty big lead for him, but it's going to get cut quickly if Ezekiel can spot Toxines, which plays in that spot. There may be something even better that I'm not seeing quickly. I think Toxines is likely to be the best play. Let's cut to this game, which is actually between these two players. And there's Toxines. So we like that play. Let me just get the score transformed to look correct for Ezekiel. There we go. Okay, so we are all set on this screen. So you can see that sure enough, the only bingo available on the previous turn was Toxines in that spot. So very nicely done. Ezekiel finds himself only down 34 going into Patrick's next move, and considering the start of the game that he had, I think that's he can't be feeling too bad after having such tricky racks in the early going. So let's see, re-deny with another S. I don't think he has anything bingo-like with this rack, but I guess the issue for him here is after Toxines, you would really like an I or a U in this spot to score a ton of points overlapping. I mean, typically you would prefer to have E's over that, over an I or a U, and E being the best vowel by far for pretty much every purpose that you could ask for, scoring, bingoing. But in this position, he may be tempted just to play Dexy. And there it is. Dexy is played. And actually, it didn't really end up blocking anything. Oh, yeah, it did. It blocked Kiwi for a ton of points. So Dexy coming down just in time. You can see Patrick's rack would have scored a boatload of points. Or actually, Wiki, I guess. Well, they're roughly the same. Maybe they are the same. So that was a timely play there to score 30 points for Patrick and potentially block those high-scoring overlaps with the Greek letter XI, Xi, or the currency XU. So we like that play. Buick is played. That looks really strong. You can see just based on the valuation that was easily the highest valuation play that Patrick had available, or sorry, that Ezekiel had available on that turn. So really nice idea there. And just for the record, when we talk about numbers like that, if anybody is watching along that's not as familiar with the evaluation tools that we have, those numbers for valuation, that's just a metric of how many points does the play score and how good are the letters left over. That's just our number for evaluating that and comparing plays based on those two very simple ideas. Not every play that has a high valuation is an actual good play. It's just, like I said, just score and leave value. And in this particular case, that looks like a standout play for Ezekiel there. Some plays that score really well and leave good letters left over do really bad things for your chances of winning the game. So you have other things to consider, obviously, but again, in that position, it looks like a great play. Patrick with the first, the first blank was with Enervate, so he's drawn the second blank. And there's definitely going to be, I see Lutherns pointed out in the chat, which is going to play right here. That would be a solid 83 points. It's going to put him firmly in command of the game. There's definitely other bingos available. In fact, let's have a look and see what they are. Okay, so we're seeing the potential internet connectivity issues for Patrick. He lost contact with the ISC interface, so let's hope that he's able to log back on and continue the game. Just while we wait, we'll see that there are only 3 bingos available here. Lutherns, as was suggested in the chat. Well, wait, what about enthralls? Oh yeah, there are more. They're just lower down on the list. Apparently there are non-bingo plays that evaluate slightly better. So maybe only 4 bingos available here. Lutherns, Thunders, Hornlets, and then also, if he spots it, he could play enthralls. Oh, I guess I need to... Whoops. Not sure what's happening with the racks and such. So we'll give him a minute before we pop back into one of the other games, and hope that Patrick's connection cooperates. Actually, we may as well just hop right over to the game that we were watching to begin with between Michael Kwao and Chris Okioma, and it looks like things are going Chris's way here. When we left this game, Michael Kwao had just played Ox instead of Expo on top of Muisted, and he was down by roughly 60 or 70 points. And it's only gotten worse for him as Chris Okioma is now up by 100 on a very, very tight board. So the bag is empty in this game. And basically all that Chris has to do is avoid, if you look on the bottom at the tiles left, you can see that there actually is a valid word of queuing there. So queuing certainly does not play anywhere on this board. He just has to be careful not to give a spot to Michael to play it. And also, it would have to be a pretty high-scoring spot. So it looks like this is going to be a win in the hopper for Team Kenya. Patrick has just logged back in, so let's cut back to this game and see how he handles this situation. Okay, he plays Thunders, so it looks like a miss of Lutherns, but good to find a bingo here for sure. Lutherns would have scored 83, and Thunders scoring 72, so it's an 11-point difference. But you're still thrilled to get 72 points there and run your score up to a 99-point lead if you're Patrick. So this is just a frustrating position now for Ezekiel. He plays cheap. That looks like a good idea. The nice thing about cheap in that spot is if I think in Collins that does take an S, and it also takes an O for cheapo. So it's a little bit better of a lane than you might realize at first, and Ezekiel needs every bit he can get. The only issue is after cheap, he kept something like IPZ. Is a W in there too, so maybe IPWZ. So not the best leave to combine with that spot. Patrick plays Wound for 31. That looks really good. He had another O in case, I think he just had 3 O's, so he could potentially hit the cheapo spot himself. So we will see what happens. So at the very least now, there's a really good spot for Ezekiel to play Wiz in that spot right there. Oh, Cheapy. Oh, is Cheapy with just the Y? Oh, very nice. Okay, so now that could really be helpful. Cheapy with the Y also available as a hook here. So a bunch of stuff, and as you can see that Ezekiel has a Y. So potentially, if he just plays Wiz right here for 50-something points, or just 50 points, I suppose, he keeps an actually decent leave of Prey here, which that leave of APRY, that definitely hits stuff with Cheapy sometimes. Yeah, you have to pray that you hit something with your leave of Prey that scores really well with Cheapy, which is definitely possible. Okay, so there's step one of the plan is executed. He plays Wiz, and a tough rack for Patrick in response. Not clear how he's going to block that cheap area effectively with this rack. He definitely has O's to play with Cheapo himself, but it's not obvious to me that doing that is productive, because any play with Cheapo could give back the Cheapo's hook, right? So I don't know if he can mess with that spot. He may just have to leave it open and just try to score decently elsewhere on the board. So he plays Gur. That looks pretty good. I mean, that's just what the doctor ordered to score a bunch of points. It does leave 3 vowels, I should say. And okay, so back over to Ezekiel. To his leave of Prey, he drew IIR, which is unfortunate, but that spot is going to continue to be difficult to block. I think it's okay for him to use his Y. As he does there, he plays Wiry. I think it's not the end of the world to give up your Y, just because your chances of bingoing with the Y aren't as good. And he needs a bingo. Hopefully, maybe from his perspective, he would hope to draw the O for Cheapo or the S for Cheaps, as opposed to holding on to the Y indefinitely. I think Wiry was okay. But unfortunately for Ezekiel and fortunately for Patrick, I think we're going to see a bingo be played here with that Collins standby ST. However you would say that. He should be able to play trailed or trialed in that spot at the very least. If he's not looking to open, so I guess the issue, maybe the only reason that he would balk at playing trialed here is simply putting a letter in the triple lane needlessly. So he's going to score something like 60 plus points next turn. He can get 70 for playing trialed, but perhaps he's going up enough that he should play Dipteral for fewer points. And he does. He plays Dipteral or Dipteral. And what would he? Oh, well, he would have had airspeed through the D or to the D. It wouldn't have been a triple. But it's possible that by playing Dipteral in that way, well, he does have Aperies. So Ezekiel is going to almost certainly see Aperies and play it with Za, but it would have been a little bit worse had he been able to play airspeed here. So again, what I mean by that is instead of playing Dipteral, he could have played trailed or trialed, and then the same letters that you see here of Aperies right here, those would have played with airspeed to the D of trialed in that spot. So definitely very reasonable defensive play by Patrick. Aperies or the anagram Epeiros would both have played in that spot. So Ezekiel bingos, he's down 40. That's still a fair amount. And Patrick, I think the only saving grace for Ezekiel now is that, oh my gosh. Okay, so he's kept the Q. Oh man. So this has created a touch and go situation here. I don't know if anything plays, there are definitely bingos on Ezekiel's rack. Let me just catch up to the game. So very interesting play by Patrick of Ganoff. It scored 50 points. That's great. The only issues with it are it created a spot for an S hook to go down the triple lane, and it kept the Q on Patrick's rack, which could end up being rough. It's probably correct to play Ganoff just because it scores so many points. I didn't really see anything better in that position, but he's definitely set himself up in a situation where I don't think Ezekiel can bingo here, but it's definitely going to be difficult on Patrick's next turn to shed the Q and score any kind of points here. So if Ezekiel can find a way to score a few points and draw a bingo that plays preferably starting with S, that could create a very bad situation for Patrick on his next turn. So it looks dire right now with Ezekiel down 90, but he definitely has pathways to win the game here. So if we just look at, let's just go to Quackle and see again, just the highest valuation moves in this position are not necessarily the best move, but basically what we're seeing here is that there are no playable bingos. There are 4 tiles in the bag, so playing something like Mob that uses 4 tiles is a little bit risky. Also, the unseen tiles on your bottom left of your screen are really poor. So I think Ezekiel is going to want to score as many points as he can while using as few tiles as he can. So maybe something like Mob is warranted here. Something that gives him chances of drawing bingos that play in 2 spots. It looks like Patrick has had a connection issue again. So we can see that's what has cropped up for him in the first week or 2 of play. So hopefully he will be able to log back on. Oh, maybe, is he back? I guess he's back. It may have been just a really brief one. I didn't see him log back on, but that's okay. So I think we're all set here. This is a tough move for Ezekiel, and it's going to need to be, whatever he plays, it's going to have to be paired with some kind of really, really good draw. Yeah, I don't know. Tough call. Play or keep the O. Good question. It seems like a lot of the plays that use the O get extra points. I guess that's kind of it's so hard to force yourself to do the mathematics of it during the game, but basically he has to sort of figure out whether or not he needs the extra points from using it. Okay, so he plays Mob instead of Mib, which was just suggested. We'll see. This is going to be tough now. There's definitely, so the thing about Mob is now at the very least there is a spot to play Raj for a lot of points, but once again it keeps the Q on Patrick's rack. So the real question is, are there actually any bingos starting with S that play from this pool on the bottom, CEII? Oh, wow. So instead of playing Raj, he blocks the lower part of the board with Chin. That's very interesting. I wonder if that is a better idea. I'm not sure. It's definitely the impulse to get rid of the Q and to block a spot on the board that could potentially lose you the game is definitely a good one, but it's sort of contingent on what are the actual letters that were unseen in the pool. And I think maybe it's the case that Patrick is more or less home free, because I wasn't really seeing any 7-letter words that played. Certainly with if, there was that S in the pool unseen to Patrick, but there were no words that played there that threatened him. So it's possible, yeah, I'm seeing in the chat, maybe the more salient threat to him was if he were to have played his J in the upper right corner of the board, he would have used his only vowel, I think. I think he just drew an I. So from his perspective, he could have been caught with no vowels in the endgame with a Q on his rack that was going to get blocked. So maybe a Q stick where your opponent has a Q and you force them to not be able to play it. That was in play, but the score was probably so lopsided that it didn't matter anyway. So it looks like Patrick is going to hold on in this game. We see ovals be played, not with the normal spelling, in the lower right by Ezekiel. I would bet that we'll see the J go down now in the upper right corner. And sure enough, it does. And I'm sure Ezekiel will figure out a way to play, maybe just tick right here for 15 to finish off the round. Okay, so it's definitely possible that this game took a while to start and finish, so we may be into next round right now. So let me just let's just get the matchup coverage, and it's possible that the next game is going to be underway, but let's get some voting going on the round 2 streaming matchup. Again, these games have probably all started, and I'm going to go ahead and get a look at the results from round 1, and we'll see where the two teams stand after that first round. Oops, that wasn't that game. That was a win for Kenya. All right, let's see. The first game between Edwin Boama and Josh Manyasa was won by Kenya. So there's 2 wins now for Kenya. Let's see. And it looks like a win for Ghana. Charles appears to have won his first game. Chris Plaka also won his first game against David Njenga. And Michael Kwao certainly looked like he was on the ropes against Chris Okioma, and he too lost to Kenya in that game. So, all right. So we'll just cut back to this. We see it looks like Michael and David is a popular choice. Let's cut straight to that game. Wow, they're already really far along. So we're definitely going to have issues with the rounds sort of starting at different times. But we'll try to catch up with this game. We also have Charles and Patrick as a popular choice in the polls. Let me just get so right now after round 1, I know that these names are not correct, but that's okay. Let me see. It was Michael and David. There we go. All right. Michael's name is shorter. So we'll get that looking correct in just a minute. Oh no, what's happening here? Drat. I'm not sure what's happened. Oh. All right, I don't really know what's happened to my interface here. Hoping I can get it corrected. All right, hold on a second. Wow, it's annoying. Okay, we'll just cut to this for a bit, and I will work on getting the other screen set up. Oh, thank you. My nice setup is currently malfunctioning in a key way where, thanks to ISC not having the score for player 1 be in the same place every time, I have to adjust it manually, which I don't seem to be able to do right now for some reason. So hopefully I will figure it out. I don't understand this. Jeez, it's annoying. Okay, we'll just change it manually, I guess. I'll just drag it to where it's supposed to go. Okay. We are set up to watch a little bit of this game. It is a huge blowout, obviously. So maybe where was the poll? Did I already hide it? I think it probably behooves us to find a game that's a little bit closer. So let me see. What was the matchup coverage? So it looks like Michael's way out on top in this game. Let's see about Charles. I think Charles and Patrick was... Oh, well, Patrick's internet was giving problems, but let's just see what's happening. Okay, so this game is just underway. Maybe we'll stick with this one. And this is between Charles and Patrick. Okay, but we'll cut back to this in a second once they get to triple digits. Okay, so it looks like Michael was definitely on the path to winning this. Let's try to stick with this game for a little while. We see Bialy. I saw Ixnay available on that rack. Maybe that was slightly better just to get the X off. Let me see. So I guess the nice thing about Bialy is it does set up a potential place to play your X, but I think just playing Ixnay there would have scored so many more points. Oh, Xylan. Okay, yeah, Xylan looks better. So I'm still wondering why it's not letting me. There we go. Okay, I haven't fixed the problem, but whatever the problem was seems to have fixed itself. So, okay, so Yage is played. Yage. How do you even say that? I don't have the pronounce part. I don't have the pronounce feature on my bot. With that rack, there was the potential of the double-double of Uglina there, I guess. That would have kept the Y. But Yage looks like a decent consolation prize. I think Uglina would be just a few points of valuation better there. So we have Locks Hunt, that classic when you just can't find your locks, you have to go on a locks hunt. Oh yeah, scoreboard, thank you. I was in the midst of doing that. It is 2-3 in favor of Kenya after round one. Thank you for that reminder. I was just having an issue with one part of the interface that set us back. So is there a good way to use the X here? Potentially not. I'm not seeing anything so good for it. I guess you could just play EAUX. Oh, are we saying that had Xylan been played, there would be a bingo going down right now? Axertype says just play the U. Just play EAU, holding the X, setting up potential plays that score a ton of points with EAUXO, the plural, on subsequent turns. That is a very Axertype play. It's very annoying, actually. It's not that easy to block. There's really no conclusive way to block it unless you have a very specific way of underlapping. I wonder, let's just have a look at those two plays and see what Quackle thinks about that. Not that that is the be-all, end-all, because Quackle plays the positions a little bit different. It likes playing the X, but not by that much more. So it's a testament to how EAU could really, mess with you. Okay, so quickly we see Hot be played by Patrick, and immediately a Z-bomb in response by Charles. So that was a very quick series where a very large score, 64 points for Patrick, gets him right back in the game. Let's see, do I have the flags right and everything? Yes, I think I do. So, all right, so now that X is still here. And And now the spots for it, I guess, are, I mean, now I guess he has to play EAUX here. I don't even see a great place to do very much with it. So we'll see what he ends up doing. Hot, yeah, hot was an interesting play there. It's, you know, just keeping the X behind without a great place for it. It actually didn't seem like it was that much worse than the other plays available in that position. Just not an easy position to play. So it's not like it was an enormous mistake or anything like that. So yeah, let's see. Do we feel comfortable with EAUX here, or is that too overlappy? It's a little bit scary. Oh, suggestion of Lowen forming Zeal right here. So here, I'll just write it on the board, easier to see. Lowen. Just for the record, I also added a little thing to the scoreboard. When I put a word on the board, you see in the bottom right of the scoreboard portion of the screen how much it would score. Okay, so he opts to play O there, and we're definitely going to see a bingo be played in response by Charles Taki Menson here. And he plays Scoured and Bialys. Nice play. So, is there anything with this bingo prone but slightly clunky rack? Not sure. Thank you to Kino Darrow for the follow. Appreciate that. Hope you enjoy the coverage. So Scoured. O is played. Was that the? Oh, I guess. So just quickly, I'm not sure if it was suggested, but with Scoured, it looks like with a blank P, he could have played Spruced and fought in that spot as a double-double. That looks like the better option there with that rack that he had of Cursed with a blank. Not that much better, only a few points. It's just a 7-point difference, but that every point counts. Just pointing that out. So yeah, I guess this is just a rack that kind of calls out for 1A and a couple of those consonants to be played. So yeah, definitely more defensive as well. And why is that, right? So Spruced in this spot, the letters are much less accessible, right? So if you imagine Spruced being played on the board, this E is a lot harder to hit, and the D of Spruced is a lot harder to hit than all of these nice letters, which are all in pretty much open space. So the Spruced letters, this one would not be in space, this one would not be in space, this one would not be in space, and really even this one. So only 2 letters would be available to hit, whereas Scoured has 5 letters available to hit. So that's sort of what we're talking about when we talk about defense. I guess the one advantage, and also Spruced, we should also mention that the S of Spruced here cuts down on 7-letter words that can be played along row D. So a couple of good defensive benefits, and while we're at it, also blocking the tabs hook and taboo hook and stuff like that. So yeah, a few more points and a little better on defense, but you would have to think to make the blank a P and find Spruced in that spot. So Patrick, I hope not for connection related reasons. If you look at the timers now, it looks like he is way low on time compared to Charles. Charles with 13 minutes, you see on the top. Patrick with only 5 minutes and 36 seconds left. So that could end up being a problem. Patrick plays La. I would have liked to see him use one more consonant here. So he just left on his rack A, D, N, R, T, which is a little bit too consonant heavy for my liking. So we'll see. Hopefully, for his sake, he can draw a couple of vowels. He really needs them if he expects to do anything. Okay, I don't think that's a valid word. So it's a sticky S, right? I think crayons is a word. and it's a sticky S. So you can see that the plural of crayons is cranses. This is not a singular. So this is a big opportunity for Patrick. He has to stop a minute and realize that he's got a big opportunity to challenge this word off. Given the score, you can see he's down by 100. This would be just what he needs to get back in the game. But he sometimes on ISC, I could tell you from experience, it's a little bit different than in a live game where something about playing on the computer makes it a little more difficult to hone in and focus and catch every phony that's played. I could easily see him just play draft here, not realizing that that's a phony, or simply not, or maybe he knows crayons and doesn't know that it's a sticky S word. When we say sticky S, obviously that means it requires the S to be played. And we see he's lost contact. So yeah, poor Patrick, I guess, having internet connection issues. So all right, let's see. Did he has not popped back on. He popped back on really quickly at one point, but not this time apparently. So we had been watching the game before this between Michael Quao and were we? Was this the one? No, I think this is a different one. I'm not sure which one we had been watching, but this one looks like it is all Ghana as Michael is about to win. Oh, was this the one? I don't remember. Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, Foveated. I remember Foveated and Flip being played. So it looks like Michael is definitely winning this. It would be hard to imagine otherwise. So that'll be an important win for Ghana in round 2. I'm just going to try to get a head start on this. Let's see. Other games in progress. Chris Plaka and Bernard Amuke. This is this is interesting. It looks like Chris probably, the combination of the Z and the fact that he's already up by a bunch of points means that the odds of him winning are pretty high. We are still waiting for Charles and Patrick to resume. Let's see about Ezekiel. This is Ezekiel Marquez versus Josh Manyasa, and it looks like a narrow lead. This game could be good to stick with if we need to. So we'll try to get situated and see what's happening in this game. And what was the other game that's still... Edwin Boama and... Oh, that game is still underway too. So we'll just stick with this and see what happens. Okay, so now we got ourselves a game. Josh Manyasa plays Scaring for 70, and he is now down by only 2 points to Ezekiel Marquez. Let's get this game lined up correctly. So this is Zeke versus Josh, and hopefully this works, please. Yes, okay, very good. All right, so we're set up now to watch this game. I don't have Quackle, obviously. This game is mostly, but we're going to use our brains to analyze instead. So definitely still a pretty strong position for Ezekiel just because the board is so tight. There's just nowhere to really do anything. I was hoping that I would see an R available in the pool just for potential to keep TAN together on Josh's rack and play Trank, but there is no play like that. So now the score of this game is exactly tied, but given that Ezekiel has tempo, I think he should be able to, basically the key for him here is to manipulate the number of tiles left so that he can't get outscored in the end game. I think he should easily be able to do that. Basically here he has to find some way to score decently with his J. I think it's probably okay for him to just play Jiao right here. I don't think that's likely to be an issue for him. Wow, this is roughly as excellent of a rack as Josh Manyasa could have drawn here, and I don't think unstated, untasted, there's nothing to the T. So I think he's picked the wrong time to draw such a nice bingo rack. Yeah, nothing ending in T, I don't believe. And he's down 30. And unfortunately for him, if you look down at the unseen tiles, there's enough good scoring tiles that I think Ezekiel is going to pull this one out, right? Like if there were no good scoring tiles, maybe you'd have a chance. But the fact that C and H and P are all available, he should be able to do something with those tiles and score somewhere. It doesn't even have to be much. Is there a way that he can fish anywhere? I don't even see where he would. Okay, that's a decent, you know what? That's a decent idea. Playing student there for 27 and trying to draw one of those high scoring tiles, like maybe the H, something. I don't even see where it would score, but that might have been as good of an idea as he could have there. That looks pretty good to me. Unfortunately, I'm sure that there will be something playing underneath student, even just something like chip, right? Like chip is too much. That should do it for Ezekiel. Chip, and then what would be the best thing with the two A's? Probably just Ava right here. And I think that's going to be enough for Ezekiel Marquez to come out ahead of Josh Manyasa in this game. So that'll be a big win for Ghana, I think, barring something strange. So it's looking good for Ghana this round. I am not sure if... Oh, okay. So, okay, Chip. We see Chip be played. That's a nice idea. It does look like Chris Okiyama defeated Edwin Boama, but that may end up being the lone win for Kenya this round. So it looks like a strong performance in the making for Ghana here. They've already got 3 wins with the potential to add a 4th with a win in this game. Wow, okay. All right, so cutting back to our original game between Charles Taki Menson and Patrick Latunya. Let me just make this look correct again. And that was, yeah, okay. So cutting back to our original game, you can see that the phony of Cran was challenged off by Patrick, and then he did play his best play of draft. I believe that was his best play anyway. It looks like it scores quite well. Patrick responding by playing Cam, and now we are potentially going to see unquote for Patrick, which is going to more than even the game. Wow. So that's amazing. That word unquote plays here easily. He is low on time, and he's probably frazzled from internet connection issues, but he can potentially really turn the tables in this game if he spots unquote and plays it, and he does. Great play. So a huge swing in this game. Charles was up a lot. He played a phony. It got challenged off, and Patrick managed to draw a bingo that played atop his previous play. So draft the correct play previously, and he set up a spot for himself to bingo afterwards. Wow, very aggressive play by Charles. He plays Drown. I know he was, the nice thing about that play is that I saw a blank on his rack, so, and no vowels. So it's a good idea to open up really volatile spots like that, especially with a blank in hand. So now, by playing in that spot, he's not only opened up a spot for himself to play to the triple lane, he also has a huge double lane available, but it's about to get crushed. Yeah, hellos. So the huge swing of this game just got even huger. And just a quick challenge by Charles. He just needs to see that that word is good because he had nervers, which is a Collins only word, and he is going to play it in a pretty nice spot up high. But wow, what a swing in this game. I don't think there was anything through the N of drown, but he did have runovers available through the U of unquote with that rack. So that's a miss of, I don't know, just a few points in that spot. It looks like maybe 10 or more points more than what he ended up getting. So the score is still close. The score is definitely still close here, but you can see that when Charles played Scoured, he had Spruced available that would have scored a few more points, and he just played Nervers when he would have had runovers for a few more points. And you can look at the score and you see that those points pretty much directly translate to him being slightly down as opposed to even in this game. Obviously, you can't really play that game. The whole game would be different if those different plays had been selected, but in general, can't leave those points on the board. And he loses contact again, unfortunately. It's definitely just an ongoing issue with his internet connection. That's got to be really frustrating, especially because of him doing such a great job getting back into this game and taking the lead in this game. So he is low on time. I don't think the time continues to tick while he's disconnected, but yeah, we'll see what happens. This is a really exciting game. It would be a shame for connection issues to mar it this way. All right, let me just go back to the matchup screen. So I think we have all of the other matchups coming in. So far, let me just update the score to reflect that Ghana is up to 5, and it looks like Kenya is at 4, and that last game is going to be really important to see what happens in this round. So I'm not sure what happened with my scores, but they're a little off center. There, we'll stick with that. So yeah, we'll cut back to game coverage. So because of the connection issues, again, the rounds are actually kind of off. So let's just see what's happening with some of these other games. Hopefully we can catch a game as it starts at some point. Let's just see what's happening with this game. Okay, so this looks like, it's also round 3, not round 1. It is now, I think we're basically into round 3, even though one of the round 2 games has not completed. All right, let's stick with this game. This is between, I have to switch the flags here. This is between David Njenga and Edwin Boama. So David, you saw in the stats screen, is a very adept defensive player, holding his opponents to less than 400 points per game so far in this tournament. And Edwin is the top player on Team Ghana and has performed best on Team Ghana by aggregate score. So this is a pretty good matchup, I would think. Let's get an understanding of what has been played in this game. And we'll try to cut back to that Patrick and Charles game because it was really interesting. We'll see how it ends up. So this is between David and Edwin. David played Unai. Try to be able to give good analysis of this one. Almost caught up. And Zed is played for a lot of points, and Zulu is played nearly instantaneously. Okay, so I am now caught up here. Let me see if I can get the other screen. Oh, wow, nice play there. That looks like it has to be the best. Tranect, a double-double. It does leave the W, but I can't imagine there was anything better on that turn for Edwin, so that's a really nice play. What's going on? So still no sign of Patrick online. may have to get a sub at some point soon, but I really hope they can finish that game because that was headed towards a really interesting conclusion. Suggestion of Orixa, that looks okay. That looks pretty good, actually. And it's probably, so the idea is you could play it here. That looks like a reasonable place to play. Doesn't give back too much with the exception of, well, you know, it gives a bit back. Oh, blowies, that is a word. Okay, so it's a blowfly. Get your head out of the gutter, people. Nice play. There it is. Okay, so we see it be played, and it looks like Edwin is off to a huge start in this game. It's going to be tough for David to get back in, but he can start by hitting his J pretty hard in the corner right there with Ahi. Could also opt to play one more vowel by playing Jiao up in the right corner, but maybe that's what he wants to do here, actually. Even though it's 7 fewer points, I think he needs the Orixa's hook to stay alive. I think he, at this score, okay, it's hard to fault him too much for that play, but I'm thinking I might prefer for him to have, with an S in hand, the way he had, I might have preferred for him to keep that S and try to hit a really big play in the bottom row, which is very difficult for him to do now. Okay, so this is between, first of all, the flags are flipped, and it is between Edwin and David. And we'll get the score right to look right. There, okay, it looks all correct. Givens, yeah, Givens is definitely still available. So it's a little bit harder to hit the Givens hook given that the S can't be terminal. It can't be the last letter in the word just because there's not enough room for it. So it would be, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you can't get your, unless it's another S. Okay, so is played by Edwin. That's interesting. I had seen that the Y, he did have the Y. It was pointed out that potentially he could have played something forming by in the upper right corner. That's kind of an interesting play. Maybe a bit of a self-descriptive play. You know, Quackle's play It actually usually says ERP. I guess I think he had an N there too. So another odd thing is he could have, rather than play he could have potentially just played Chin in that spot. But now, okay, he does play Envy for 53. Hard to argue with that. But it looks like all else being equal, he probably could have gotten away with playing his Q and then potentially hit the Y really hard on his next turn. Which the way he's done it is he will still have the Q now. So he's still up by 140. It's not really a big deal. I think he's still mostly fine. But if anything is going to let David get back into this game, it would be wasting a turn on either exchanging or not being able to do anything with the Q. So, yeah, I guess another idea of potentially playing Very over Envy, that could be a good idea. Just to put the V in that spot instead of the E means that any bingo ending in E is going to give counterplay, as opposed to now it's going to hit harder. So little details could end up mattering like that. Not sure what the right play here is. I'll just do a quick cut to Quackle, which seems to like Mucose on the bottom part of the board. Again, the axis flipping when I go to Quackle, just for the record. So I guess the nice thing about that is it scores decently and opens another lane. So we'll see. It's definitely a dire situation to be down 140 here, and it's hard to see a comeback happening, but you got to believe that's Scrabble for you. It can happen. You never know when your opponent's going to play a phony or do something out of the norm. And also, both blanks are unseen. So if he can get a bingo soonish that doesn't use a blank and then draw them one after the other, that's how you come back from a deficit like this. So let's see how it plays out. I think it's okay. He plays core instead, keeping the S, which looks okay. He could have played cure in that spot as well if he wanted to potentially pump his bingo chances up a little bit more. And Edwin is just undeterred. He does not care about having that cue, and he just plays sway. And here's a fun opportunity to maybe play metump to the M right here. That's not a word you see every day. There might be something better. But that's a fun, in my opinion, that is a fun word that you could potentially see being played. Sway was played so fast. I think it makes sense from the perspective of just the board is really terrible now, right? Like, so the best spot to bingo would have been with givens, and he takes it out by playing sways. Okay, sump instead of metump, I guess. What did he have? I think he had like permutes through an R. So sump, the problem with sump is simply that it used up his S, which even though the board is not good for it, it's still a really good bingo tile. And it scored exactly the same as metump did, but kept a weaker leave. So things are looking grim for David. Edwin looks like he's trying to set a record for how many turns he can keep the cue. And he is well on his way to whatever that record is. He truly is undeterred, and there's not that much. I mean, there are no U's left, obviously, after sump. That was the last U, but he'll be able to play it somewhere, even if it's just like he can just draw one of the 4 I's and just play it here or here. So it's not fatal. I'm just amused that he's kept it for so long. Let's cut back to this game. This is really, really interesting here. We had watched this. It looks like Patrick is finally back. And hold on, let me get the scores and names right again. So this is between Charles and Patrick. And I will get the score to look roughly correct. Okay, so this game we had tuned in to. Sorry, we're cutting back, but that game was definitely going in the direction of Team Ghana. So this one is much more up in the air. Oh boy, wait a second. So this situation is very simple. He has to bingo or lose. Is it possible that for Charles, with this rack of raciest, that he will not be able to bingo? And that Patrick is gonna... Yeah, that is amazing. As we see Patrick lost contact again. All right. So amazingly, despite his connection issues, it looks like Patrick is going to pull out a win, somehow fending off an out bingo from Charles Tacky Benson with a rack of raciest, one of the first bingo racks that you could probably learn. All right, let me see what's going on here with these other games. So I'm going to go ahead and chalk this up, I think, as a win for Kenya, and we're just going to do our best to continue on into round 3. So we had been watching Edwin versus David. That looked like it was going to be a pretty big blowout for Edwin. Let's go and check in on this game between... okay, this looks like a good one. So this is a game between Ezekiel Marquez and Chris Okiyoma. And this one looks like we can cut our teeth into it a little bit. It's headed down to the wire. Let's see, what can we... Wow, interesting. That is an interesting looking play. Tyros for 29, forming a bunch of other nice plays, but the issue with this is it's going to get hit immediately, I think, with Crib, which sets up a C out in space in a way that's going to be hard to block. Tyros does look like a nice idea, though. It's just going to create a resulting position that's very difficult. Because once you see Crib be played, okay, and it is. So now the score is really close. It's too close for Chris to really rest on his laurels here. But I guess, he can play something like Izar just to block the C a little bit, but there's definitely things that Ezekiel can draw that play there. So idea of playing just Rib, that potentially would be really nasty. That looks like it could have been annoying. Of course, in this situation, it would have been blocked by Saz, right? That would have been really not ideal. The SC spot could still potentially hit pretty hard, but it's not nearly as good when your opponent just got 50 points. But I definitely buy it in general as a good idea. Oh, there we go. That's a nice idea. Just Za and Ita. That's great. That's definitely the perfect block. You can still lose to certain things ending in IC or something ending in C, but it's a lot harder. So that looks like a pretty good move there by Chris to really clamp down on the board position. And now I guess from Ezekiel's perspective, he has to try to open the board somewhere else and get lucky enough to play something ending in IC, which is not impossible. Is there, where else can he even open anything? I guess, how about this? Oh, this doesn't look great. I was thinking maybe this, but the problem is he keeps too many vowels, right? The point of this play would just be to set up a place to play Emu on subsequent turns, but with E-E-E-I-L, I'm not sure there's even a way to fit anything. So probably not good enough. What else? Anybody else have any good ideas? Oh, Josh just suggested Mew. Okay, well, there you go. It's I'm thinking now maybe something to the C. I don't know. He just plays G, which doesn't look proactive enough. Well, you know what? Let's think about this, because there is another C here. So you can pin all of your hopes on drawing a word that ends in C. There's no need to do anything creative if you just want to draw a word like that ends in C or that plays CS, right? If you can even draw stuff with C in 7th position. And Chris, potentially realizing that, is completely unfazed and just plays Snib, emptying the bag, and that looks like it'll get the job done. So interesting. But that's, yeah, maybe rather than having to open the board, all you have to do is just draw something ending in C there. You don't have to do anything. So fishing whatever the best set of letters that, draws for something is the way to go there. Okay, so this was between Ezekiel and Chris, and it looks like it's going to be a win for Kenya. And we are pretty sure, cutting back to this game is all Edwin. And it looks like it actually officially just ended. Did the game between Patrick finish? Yes, it did. So you can see this game did finish. Wow, the score is surprisingly close. I'm curious to see how the score got that close. But it does end up being a win for Charles over... Wait a second, do I have my... Oh yeah, that was still round 2. That's why I have it as being off. All right, and let's see. Chris Plaka, where is he? I'm still looking. He is offline right now. It looks like he just defeated... Oh. No, he still has yet to play his 3rd game. How about... Okay, Bernard did defeat Michael. So that is going to be another win for Kenya. So I know that Charles and Josh were delayed by how slow that game was in round 2 between Charles and Patrick through no fault of Charles's. Patrick having some connection problems. So if we just cut here, I'll just cut to the matchup coverage so we can see where we're at, and let's update the scores as well. So it looks like with two rounds in round 3 that have yet to start, but 3 have actually completed. So that's an oddity. But through 2 rounds, it looks like it was 5-5, and now it looks like it's going to be 7-6. So we have a very close matchup between Ghana and Kenya in progress. So I guess, yeah, we'll just do away with. I had such grand ideas for the polls, but that's okay. Let's see. Here's a game that's just now taking place between Charles and Josh Manyasa. So why don't we stick with this game for a little bit? So this looks like a bingo here for Josh. Is he going to see it? There is a bingo on his rack. And it plays. So we do the waiting game here. Let me see. So this is between Charles and Josh. Charles opening with, oh, let me get the flags fixed. There we go. He's found it. Pinoche. Very nice. Nice play there. That is definitely his best bingo, and not only that, he's found it with all the good overlaps. It's going to, I was going to say, the play came down faster than I could describe it, but the only issue with Pinoche in that spot is that it yields pretty strong counterplay to the triple, and he has found, Charles has found his best response of eyeing for 53 points. That looks really strong. But another bingo is very likely to go down here. Greasers being suggested in the chat. There's also re-raises through the eye right here. So if he doesn't see greasers or is unsure of greasers, he has options to play elsewhere. All right, so this is just getting this ready. All right. So yeah, we are a little bit off sync with the rounds. So this is still part of round 3. I actually believe that there are some games that are happening in round 4. Oh, wow. Okay, so very quickly, Greasers, which was the highest scoring bingo, is played, and immediately Za is played in response by Charles. And let's cut to this screen now. There we go. Okay, so this looks good. Just going back to the Greasers turn, I'll show you guys that you can see there were a ton of bingos available, but Greasers did score the most. And Za, obviously a really strong response, but Pedals, another bingo finds its way onto Josh's rack here. So that's going to be potentially 3 straight bingos to start the game. And it definitely plays on this board. So, oh, wow, surprising. I'm surprised at that. Deeps is played instead for 30 points. I would have thought that we would see Pedals be played there at the least, and obviously Spelded is the potentially other slightly higher scoring option by putting the P in the triple letter score there. Spelded would have gone down there. Okay, so instead we see Deeps be played. That's a miss for sure, I would think. The game is just a little bit too close to. Despite all the bingos that Josh is playing, he still definitely needs those extra points on that turn. So that is a mistake. Still a very close game. Brant is played by Charles. I'm not actually sure what I think he had a U also on his rack. Yeah, the time pressure. Actually, Charles potentially smarting a little bit after his loss just now to Patrick, and also that game took a while, so he's probably wanting to play quickly and get back into the swing of things. Okay, we see vaults be played. That's a very, very defensive option. There were absolutely plays available that scored quite a bit better, but he's instead opted to block the S of Greasers, which as a long-term goal, that does make sense. But short-term, he really left a lot of scoreboard points on the board there with that play. I wonder if either player will think of N vaults. That was a play that Charles actually had that on his rack on his previous turn, but I don't think it was the right play. Navy looks like a better play. Just because playing N vaults, just using the E and N, would have left a lot of clunky letters. So he probably could have got a couple more points, but not really even that many more. All right, so midish, it does not look like a word. So this is a nice close game, despite all the early fireworks. Actually, it's surprising how close the game is, given that Josh bingoed twice to open the game and potentially had a third opportunity to do so, but Charles is scoring well to stay in touch. Suggestions of Mihi or Midi and Noni, that looks like a good idea for sure. Those would have all played in this spot right here. Really fast. Charles is just playing absolutely instantly. So high being played down low is okay. The only issue with it is it kept both Ds. It kept two Ds on Josh's rack. So it would have been nice to see him use one of those up. And now we see Sid be played, which looks okay, but oh man. So trying to stay on top of what's happening here. So on high, we saw Josh play high, or sorry, yeah, we did. We saw Josh play high, keeping two Ds. He's played Sid now, unburdening himself of one of the Ds. The only issue with that is it creates a big A hook for bingos going down with acid. And Ab was played very quickly by Charles to score 27. The issue with that play, I think, is that it left all vowels, which is the exact opposite problem that Josh has right now. So Josh is going to be hard-pressed to do anything better than just maybe play Quoom there, right? CWM. Okay, instead he plays Tisk. Oh, so Ab actually was a little bit hasty because he used up his A that is so valuable. Oh my God, it was the last A. So if you look down at the bottom of the screen at the unseen tiles, there are no more A's to come at all. So using that A on Ab was actually really bad for the long-term chances of Charles to bingo. He absolutely should have played something else with a different vowel on the bottom part of the board. Okay, Charles exchanges. And Tisk is, yeah, Tisk, instead of, I had pointed out just the, the word that we see in Scrabble all the time, CWM. This is a very, very common word to see in a Scrabble game. If you're not a Scrabble player, you are not likely to have seen that word as often. But instead of playing that, blocking the A hook of acid, which I guess didn't matter anymore since the last one had been played, he plays Tisk, opening up a huge spot. So, all right. Is there anything here? Eggs? I mean, I'm not sure there's anything to the S with this rack. I'm not seeing it right away. Lexites or something. But let me see if I can get back on top. The play is going so quick. All right, so finally, Charles is taking a moment to think about this. It's actually possible with this rack that he should just play Ilexes and cabs and then go for the other blank to hit this S if he needs it. I mean, Ilexes and cabs is basically going to even the game, and hitting this S should be doable. It's very difficult to imagine a play happening to this S that scores well or is a good equity play unless it's a bingo or maybe a QU play that plays there. It's possible that it could just sit open stronger than or for longer than you would expect, especially after Ilexes. If you would imagine Ilexes being played here, the next play is very likely to parallel it as opposed to be on the S. Yeah, Charles, the real game has now begun. Yeah, every good game of Scrabble only starts midway through. That's not actually true. And we see he has lost contact. So hopefully he is not having the same level of issues that Patrick Latunye is having, and then he'll pop back on in a jiffy. So, okay, I think he is coming back shortly. Oh, wait, not yet. Somebody else just popped back on. So I'm very interested to see what he does and how this game unfolds, because Josh has a pretty solid lead, but it's about to potentially get erased completely and turn into a race to see who can hit the S of Tisk right here, this spot. So appealing to really hit hard. Even 1 point tiles will score a nice amount. So just waiting a little longer before we cut to a different game. Let's see. What were the other games that were slow going? So this is between Charles and Josh. We had a game between Chris and Patrick. How is that going? This is still early, but wow, looks like Patrick Latunye is on top in this game by a lot. What has happened? Have we seen any challenges or anything? No, just Michael opening the game. And let me cut to this so you can see the players. Okay, so Michael answers back with pretty solid bingo. He was down a lot. He's still down 30, but he's gotten lucky that Patrick has a very consonant heavy rack and can't hit this X very hard parallel to recruits. Oh, wow. Stricture was available there through TR as a double-double. That's being pointed out. Amazing. Excellent find. Really, really nice find in the chat. That's awesome. That would have been an amazing play available there. Still no sign of our other game popping back. So these games are in round 3, but there are actually potentially other games in round 4 happening here. Thank you for the follow to Blackboy10. Hope you enjoy the coverage. Let's see. Other games that are in round 4 that are happening are, I think, yeah, Edwin and Bernard. This is a round 4 game that's just in the early stages. All right. Maybe we can latch on to a round 4 game and then just catch up with the games that are lagging from the previous rounds as we go. So I think I'm going to do that. It's a little tricky, obviously. I'm going to adjust it so that it's round 4. But this is a pretty good matchup here between top seed of Ghana, Edwin Boama, and Bernard Amuke, we've not seen on the stream yet. So let me see if we can catch up with this. Well, actually, you know what? It's not going to be a blowout after this play because of the rack of prong blank blank on Bernard's rack. So I think we'll be able to catch up to this. And I really do want to see what Charles plays in that other game if he's going to play Ilexes. I am still somewhat invested in that one emotionally, but we'll see what happens with that if his internet cooperates. Okay, so we have Edwin and Bernard in this game. we will cut back to... I wonder what bingo he's going to end up playing here. Proined, maybe? Okay, dropping, that's reasonable. I had just seen Proined be potentially playable to the D, putting the P in the most lucrative spot, but dropping looks pretty reasonable as well. See if I can catch up to this one. It's not too long. Feuded was played. I guess it might have gotten a challenge. Then Quag, twirl, dropping, prong, blank, blank. Wow, pretty insane play here. Hold on, let me cut to this. This is actually awesome. So this is between Edwin, and I will show you guys what is available here. Pignorates. Oh, you guys already found it? Okay. That's amazing. You guys found that too. Pignorates. Yeah, that would have been it. But you guys already found it, so that takes a little of my thunder away. Okay. I am now mostly caught up, I think, to this game. This is a round 4 game. There are still round 3 games being played, which is why the score is not a multiple of 5. You guys found it with no assistance. Well, I imagine that could be sarcasm, but I'm very impressed if it is true. Okay, we see Bam be played. That's interesting because it keeps kind of unappealing letters behind. I think the leave after Bam is something like AAVI. Or no, AVII. And Janty goes down for 62 for Bernard. So the early lead that Edwin just had, and it was a pretty big early lead, is completely erased now. And let's see what Edwin can do to reverse the course of this game. He can definitely play something underneath the J. Did he have Jaunty available too? Okay, so if he had an O, he could have potentially done slightly better by playing that instead of the A. These tiny little nuances, like, I mean, typically in most games, they're decided by plays that are much more different than whether you play Janty or Jaunty. But sometimes those tiny little nuances actually do decide the game, and they do matter, even though they're just so inconsequential seeming compared to some of the bigger mistakes you can make in this game. Oh yeah, something with Twirly potentially available there if you wanted to risk holding the J behind. It seems like Janty is probably a little bit better, but I could imagine at least considering plays with Twirly there. Certainly if there was a play with the J, like if he had kept an N, maybe Janty and Twirly there ends up being a little better. Yeah, maybe it is a little bit better. Powell Eyes, thank you for the follow. Hope you enjoyed this coverage of Ghana versus Kenya in the Virtual World Cup. Thank you very much. Okay, radio is played. So again, that looks solid to score a bunch of points, but you could have used the V there, right? I think he could have just played something like Devo and Joe, and that would have maybe been a better option for your chances of bingoing on future turns as opposed to keeping the V. Is there some spot for the V that looks appealing? I don't know. Interesting little insertion play now with Twirler that could potentially, you could see that as a lane being available. There aren't very many good lanes on this board, so the fact that that is available actually represents one of the better bingo lines on the board. Cool, Powell from Kenya. Yes. So your squad is out to a slight early lead. And obviously Team Kenya has a fair bit to play for. They need to win now. And the way that the bracket's breaking down is With a Kenya win in this matchup today and a Canada win over Singapore not too long from now, that will punch Kenya's ticket into the bracket of 8 after pool play. So, yeah, let's see. We see Glot be played. That looks okay. I think it scores 26. There is an Opa hook possibility now, so there is now a little bit better of a lane than existed before. If you can just hit something with an O in early position of the word. And now Fiver is played, which gets rid of that V at long last. And also really mostly conclusively blocks the twirler hook. So I actually didn't catch what Edwin had on that rack, but I wonder. This is a tricky board now. This is not a great board to be down on. Really a lot depends on hitting a very improbable bingo, or I guess hitting a run of power tiles all in a row. That's probably the way that this game's going to be decided, more so than a bingo. So let me see. Fiver is played. Unlike. Yeah, unlike. What am I looking for? What am I looking for in chat? I'm looking. Is there somebody that needs to be banned or something? Oh, he blocked. He missed riveted. Okay. Yes. Okay, I did not see what he had, and yeah, I saw the insertion after radio was played, but I did not catch that rack. Okay, sorry. Riveted or rivet. Wait, it was riveted, right? It couldn't be riveter because RA is not a word. Okay, well, that's not an easy spot. Obviously, I've missed many spots like that. No, I will not ban anybody that doesn't deserve it. Yes, sorry. Yes, no, thank you. It's definitely, that's what highlight my message is for. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. That is working as intended. For if I miss something like that, you absolutely should do an at Wanderer15, highlight it, and let me know, because that's the point of my being here. I'm trying not to miss that stuff, but it is this particular match has been a little bit haphazard with the rounds now being staggered, and trying to sort of catch what's happening in those games. And usually when the rounds are flying off at roughly the same time, it's a little easier to corral the results. So, all right. So what do we see here? Any UK nuke right here. That looks pretty good. It leaves 2 eyes, and you can get more eyes, but the board sucks. So you shouldn't be that worried about your leave on a board like this if you are up by 10 or 9 as Bernard is. Patrick skipped round 3. I'm not. He skipped round 3. I thought we watched him play round 3. Did he just take a forfeit in round 3 and he's on to his round 4 match? Oh, let's look at that. So maybe he is back on track. So, all right, so we'll figure that out by who he's playing, obviously. But thank you for that update. Okay, so we saw Igloo be played. Very interesting. So I'm not sure I'm a fan of that move, simply because it keeps a really nice balanced leave, but that's, again, not doing you any favors on this particular board. So he has another chance now to play the same play that he did not play last turn. He played Igloo and drew a U. So he has nuke again, and now it's an even better play because he doesn't have 2 eyes left behind afterwards. So I really think he needs to find that now just to keep his score up. If he plays for leave again, he runs the risk of being outrun on a board that really does not support good leaves. Okay, so he plays Kepi, and this is really giving Edwin the opening that he needs if he could find a good scoring play here, which his rack is a little bit clunky, but he may be able to do something. I'm just looking at the Opa spot. I mean, I'm not sure I want to play it scores 40 though. Maybe you have to. You may have to play Cause. So that looks pretty good. Oh boy, somebody with a starts with goat search. Got to be careful. Now you're heading into uncharted waters. But I will be as lenient as I can as the master. Thank you, Powell. Appreciate the updates. Yeah. So are we saying that? Wow. Okay. So rather than play his Z there, he plays Doc instead. So a lot of points are being left on the board by both players here. So Bernard with an X on his rack. That's nice to see for him. And he plays it for 36 in a pretty good spot. Oh, but the Z is going to score a ton. The Z is going to score a ton. Not there. Right here. So he has Saz. He has Saz at the very least. Oh, Ansats. Oh, my God. Ansats. Ansats. Oh, he missed it. So Ansats there would have scored an unbelievable amount right there. All right. So what is happening here? Igloo was played, then Geet, and then Kepi. Let me just get back. I haven't done any quackling in a while. Doc. Oh, wait. What happened to my attempt to put Igloo in? I didn't. All right. All right. Anyway, suffice to say that Ansats would have been a game breaker unless there was some big play through the A that it would have yielded. So let me see. Fiverr, Igloo, Geet, Kepi. Definitely can't do Control T and Quackle because these guys are going off the reservation for some of these plays. Doc, X, and Ansats plus a V. So, all right. So you can see here, right, when I pop this up, that Ansats for 102 available. Yikes. Saz, obviously, 64 still good, but there was an 102-point play of Ansats making Zell on that turn. Oops, I committed it. That was not what was played. Saz was played. Okay, so we'll get back. And now I am mostly caught up. Okay, so this game is still super close, and you can see that basically the narrative of this game is that Bernard had a slight lead as early as basically Igloo, right? That was the turn where we wanted him to play Nuke for 30. And Kepi, he also had that same play available for a pretty high score. Obviously, putting the K in the triple lane would have yielded more points in return, but it seems like the result of the last 3 or so plays have been that Edwin has sort of seized tempo, seized command of the game, where now he's the one with the lead. Yeah, X was a pretty big blunder for sure, yielding that huge Z spot. And now we see Vats be played with a really promising bingo rack, which it makes sense to play that because it's going to be hard for Edwin to lose after Vats. The board is so tight. Bernard quickly plays just NU in the upper corner, which continues to cut down on threats, his own threats. So it looks like Edwin is going to take command here. So some plays by Bernard where maybe he should have opted to score more points or keep the board more open than he has done. I'm struggling to get the plays on the board that I want to. There we go. Hent is played quickly, and you can see now, after all of that, Edwin has a 50-point lead. So it's going to be very, very difficult now. It basically requires Bernard to open the board. I guess we should note that halves is a word in Collins, so he could potentially draw something to bail himself out by playing with SE and an ISE word, perhaps. So maybe he needs to do something here to open the board. He could play something with, Doko. So something here, I guess, is being suggested, maybe to create a lane. The problem I have with this play is that it's very, very simple to just play there and end the game. So I feel like I would rather play something here and fish for an out bingo that plays in that spot, right? That's my feeling about just playing OE in that spot here. Okay, that sort of gets the job done. But it doesn't look like, just looking at the pool now, from Edwin's perspective, it doesn't look very good. What could he possibly have? Yeah, it looks pretty grim. So I think this game is very likely to go in Edwin's favor. I just am not sure what bingos can even go down for Bernard here. Is something wrong with my sound or microphone? Is anybody else having issues with my audio in any way? This is the first I've heard of that. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing my levels are maybe a little loud, but okay. Yeah, just it seems like there's no issue, so maybe it's a local thing. Thank you, thanks for the confirmation. All right, I bet there are some results that have come in here. Have there been? Let me see. So Ezekiel maybe has played. Looks like let me get this off the screen so you guys can see what happens in this game while I figure this out. Okay, yeah, that's definitely a round 4 result between Ezekiel and David. Edwin is still playing. Charles is probably still playing. Yes. And how about Chris Plaka? He is still playing. Oh, Michael may be done. Oops. Oh, this is not his game. Hold on. Sorry, we'll cut back to the Edwin game immediately. That was my fault. Okay, so Reify is played. That's a nice block. If he's worried about plays forming half a, well, there was no A left, but making the halves hook, he made a nice block. Oh, okay. Thank you for that update. So it looks like a win adjudicated in Kenya's favor in that game between Chris and Josh Manyasa. So I will reflect that in the standings. And Michael, it looks like Patrick defeated Michael. Okay, so another win for Kenya. Okay, and now we are watching this game, and Charles versus Chris is potentially still in progress. All right, very good. So let's just watch the conclusion of the game we were originally watching. So Bernard is going to have to try to... yeah, sorry, I don't have the bot with the pronunciation. I've not gotten around to doing that. Okay, yeah, Woobies. Unwoobies. Unfortunately, that's not going to cut it. So, all right. So it looks like Edwin is definitely going to... This was a pretty clutch win for Ghana here. This looked like it was in the balance. It could have easily gone Kenya's way, but Edwin with a nice... I think he did well to hang on to this game. So, all right. So thinking Edwin's going to win this, let's cut to the other round 4 game that is still in progress, and that is between Charles and Chris. And we will get the score to look correct there. Okay. So this is the last of the games in round 4, and the score after Edwin is basically a lock to win that game. This is actually a pretty big game. It looks like it's going Ghana's way, and if that holds, well, we still have, I guess we still have outstanding games from round 3 that have not finished yet. Oh, wait a second. Helvixi versus Kenya Hawk adjudicated in Hawk's favor. Okay, that was the round 3 game. I'm sorry, I misunderstood that. So that is going to be the round 3, game 3. And what does that mean for Chris and Josh? They're playing now too. Okay, so I spoke too soon with that result. So this game is also not yet finished. So, all right, I'm going to do my best to figure out what is this. My best guess for the score right now is, let me see here. It looks like it was 5-5, and then it became 8-6, and now it is 8-9. So my best guess for the score, and I think this is accurate, although we're not sure yet what we're doing with one of Patrick's games, I believe from round 3, that he is going to potentially make up. Maybe it won't be necessary. But right now I believe the score is Kenya 9, Ghana 8. So, oh, I'm sorry. Let me cut back to whichever game we were watching. This one? Yeah, okay. So 2 games still to go in round 4, and then a potential makeup game in round 3 that has yet to be played. So, all right. I know I'm hopping back and forth like crazy. Let's see what's happening here. So Chris plays Wast. Very interesting. I think he's probably in trouble no matter what, just because that was his only vowel. I'm sure there must have been something using the J that he may have wanted to do instead, but maybe there isn't anything. But this looks like it will for sure be a win for Charles, just because he has much more flexible letters in the end game. So I'll go ahead and call that a win for Charles, and now we can hone in on the other game, or maybe that game finished. Did this game finish? Yes, it looks like it did. So this is going to be another win for Kenya. Let me cut to this, sorry. Just trying to get, hopefully for round 5, maybe we can get mostly on the right track. I'm not sure. Okay, so here's what I have right now for the matchup coverage. So we have a round 3 game that is yet to finish, and it looks like maybe round 5 games are underway. I'm not sure, but I think now we were going to be tied at 5-5 after round 2. It was going to be 8-6, and now it is 10-9. Okay, so going into the last round, it is my understanding that the score is, with one match from round 3 still unplayed, the score is Ghana 9, Kenya 10. All right, now let me see. Let's see if the players are playing their round 5 games. Yes. I did. I have incorporated that into the. I have incorporated that. So let's just cut to a game. So let me see. This is between Ezekiel and Bernard. Sorry for those that like the polls. There's just no way to do the polls. The players are not on track to be on the right time. So next time around, I'm hopeful to do more polls. But this is a round 5 game, so it is coming right down to the wire. So once again, what is at stake here is that Kenya needs this win. They are up 10-9 going into the last round, and if Kenya loses this match to Ghana, their chances of making the bracket end. They will not make the bracket. If they win, their chances are alive, but they must get a Canada win over Singapore later this weekend in order to make the bracket, or else Canada and Singapore, if Singapore wins, they will make it along with Canada into the bracket. If Singapore loses, Canada and Kenya will make it from Group C. So, all right, let me see here. If we cut back to this is between Bernard Amuke and Ezekiel Marquet. And let's just get this a little off. Okay, very good. All right, let's try to pick up this game and do some analysis and not worry too much about what's going on with the other games. Every game really important, obviously, in round 5. We are right down to the nitty-gritty of it here. This is really, really tight. So this itself is a really, really close game between these two players, Ezekiel and Bernard. Let's see if we can catch up to it a little bit. Really awful rack now for Bernard with a Q and nowhere to play it. No H to save him for cough or anything like that. So, yeah, we'll see what he can do here. It doesn't look like he can do anything to the J of Joel Hole. Boy, this is a tricky one. I feel pretty sure that playing a word here is better. Like at the very least, just vowed is probably worth playing for 32 points. But other than that, it's not going to be looking good here for Bernard. Okay, there it is. Not long after it was suggested. Wow, Minutiae was, if you look back at that bingo, really bad rack with the exact correct letter to play through. So that was definitely helpful for Ezekiel, who's playing the red tiles. Just for the record, if you're ever curious about who played what, I have the color coding of the names. Those are who's handling different letters. So right now, play is coming rapidly here, but the red tiles in the rack that you see mean that it is Ezekiel's turn. His name in red, and when the tiles shift to blue, that means it's Bernard's turn. Just for those that may not, I mean, it is a little bit complicated, all the interface stuff, I admit. Bonnier played by Ezekiel to go up by a solid amount, and it gets a quick challenge. I'm sure the challenge was for Steam, the E-hook on Bonnier. I'm quite sure that both players know Bonnier very well. And immediately Jops is played. So the players are playing at a pretty rapid clip here, as I do my very best to catch up to them. Feel like I've been a step behind this entire match, but I'm doing my best. Wow, Dixie played with the blank. I'm very curious about that play. I literally did not have a chance to see what was on that rack. But that is intriguing. That is definitely an intriguing play. Okay, I believe I'm now caught up in this. So it scored 48. That's pretty good. Was there really nothing better that did not use the blank, though? I wonder. All right. So Bernard plays Frigg with his very consonant-heavy rack, leaving CRS, which in general is a pretty good leave, but this is not a good board for bingos with terminal S. There's just nowhere to end a word in S. Vowed, that's a verb. There's nothing. Peaks, that's obviously already has an S. Minutiae already is a plural. So hard to see, I suppose, OS is playable in that spot. It's not very likely. So the problem for Bernard here is that he has a good bingo leave to start with for next turn. Really the best he can hope for is a bingo starting with S forming Uggs. And that's not great. That's not great to pin your hopes on. So basically, Ezekiel, who has proven himself to be a pretty astute positional player, he plays, oh, nice idea. He scores 36 points by playing Deddle there, and he gets another 5 points from Bernard for it. And that might have been, well, I mean, it could just be a regular challenge, or it could have been a frustration challenge because to his leave of CRS, Bernard drew GHVL, which is definitely not what you would like to see. Yeah, this is definitely bad that he's going to have to take a really low score. Yeah, Dixie was definitely a really interesting play. I'm sure there are other games going on that are likely to be closer than this. Yeah, this one looks like it's going to be really hard. So Bernard plays Cha for 16. That doesn't really even open anything, and it leaves 5 vowels. All right, yeah, I think it's reasonable to cut to another game. I think that definitely Kenya has the advantage in this one. Let's see what's going on with the 3 seeds. So in round 5, the number 1 seeds play each other, number 2 seeds play each other all the way on down. So this was a game, I believe, between the number 2 seeds on each team. So let's look at the number 3s and see how they're doing. Okay, this game is still way early. So it looks like Ghana has the edge between the number 2 seeds. Have the number 1 seeds already played? No, they have not. So we'll see what happens with that. Truthy's played. I played that word just recently. So that's kind of a funny word to see played. Oh, let me get these scores correct. One moment. This is, the flags are also reversed, and the players are the number 3 seeds. So in just a minute, the scores are going to start to look better. Jitney through the T. Oh, wow. Was that available right there? So playing through this T, excuse me, making Kai. That would have been really nice. For sure. Yeah, instead he's got to hold on to the J. So Truthy looking pretty good to score 34 with that Y, but it looks like Jitney might have been an improvement on that, a pretty large one. All right. I think I'm going to abandon any hope of quackling and just go with the old noggin. So Inducer, that should be seen and played. The only question is where. This looks like a slightly better spot than this one. You get a few more points by playing it down here. I expect this to be seen. And there it is. Okay, so there's Inducer in the spot that scores a bunch more points. And we like that. Okay, so this game is looking like it's going majorly in favor of Kenya so far. Vex is played. That's interesting. I was expecting maybe Docs to be played, but perhaps Charles wanting to keep the Inducer's hook alive, so maybe he can draw an S later. Let's see. So now David with a pretty good size lead, and basically his priority to close the board however he can. What is the best way for him to do that, I wonder? I'm not particularly scared about this area as a bingo lane. It's going to be not that easy to hit with a vowel in first position. I don't think there's anything good from the V. I might want to play something long right here, like I don't know, bridle or something. Good morning, Gideon. No worries. Nice to see you. So yeah, just because this lane is pretty easy to hit as a sevens lane, and also you're blocking the vexed hook in one go. So maybe something down there looks like a reasonable idea. It's not going to be perfect. It will probably give more lanes back, but I think on balance, that might be the most defensive play I can come up with. We will see. Yeah, I will be streaming tomorrow for a lot of time, actually. We have great matchups tomorrow, which I will get into once we finish this one, because this one's really close, and Kenya really needs every last game. They are narrowly ahead. Yes, I will be covering for Ed. Oh, wow. So Alb is played instead. Okay, so the thing about Alb that's scary is it takes an A hook and an E hook. So it's just this does not really accomplish too much defensively, but it did score decently in balance. So we will see how it whether that Alb hook ends up costing David, because that is just a really easy sevens line now with the hooks that can play. So we'll see what happens there. Charles instantly plays Doit. I actually not even sure what he had. So that seemed reasonable, I guess, if he had kind of clunky low point letters just to not block too much. Although why not play that with Vexed, I guess, for a few more points. I don't know. The nice thing about playing something with Vexed right there is that it really it gives a little bit of extra protection to the Inducer's hook. It makes it you absolutely have to block it with just a short play from the V. That's the only way. Which is definitely possible. There's definitely easy plays that can be made from the V that block Inducers, but they don't. If you're wasting time playing down with that V, there's other spots on the board you could be opening. So let's see what to do here. I don't know. This is tricky. Oh, Verando, it looks great. Yeah, has that been suggested? Yeah, that's definitely the play. That's a great play. Opening up this lane pretty effectively and scoring really well. Although, again, we're saying that David doesn't want to be opening lanes, but that looks correct. Charles seems to be a really fast player. That's my understanding. He plays nearly instantly. A lot of players that we've seen today play quick, but also some internet issues going on. So Munt is played. That looks pretty good. Now you could see one of those short plays from the V as I was describing, like Va, and there it is. So now that S hook on Inducers is gone, David's able to block it himself. So that looks like a nice idea. Ziggs played really quickly by Charles, and just, maybe, yeah, I don't think he had, oh yeah, just in time, it blocks Opaker. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Opaker was just about to play for David, which probably would have been a game-ending bingo in the sense that David would have gone up by too much after that play. But Ziggs scores 45 and gets in the way, and I'm not sure that plays anywhere else on the board. So very, very nicely blocked. But yeah, the Q is still going to play there for 46, and I'm sure that's what we'll see played. So yeah, I think this game again is looking like it's going Kenya's favor. We just saw the game between the number 2 seeds. If we just cut back, let me make sure it's on this screen. If we just cut back to those guys playing, they may already be offline. So yeah, we don't actually have to. So it looks like Ezekiel did come out on top in that game. So there's one win for Ghana right there. So that is going to be 1 down for Ghana. Edwin, and I'm not sure what's happening between Edwin and Patrick, whether they're playing that now or whether Patrick will try to play his game with Chris. Anyway, the number 4 seeds and number 5 seeds are still playing. And we are watching the number 3 seeds. So not sure what's happening with Patrick and Edwin, whether they're going to play or not. But we will see. Yeah, I see that. Patrick versus Boama yet to start. Okay, so that could be a really big game. Bonus Scrabble, because the rounds have been delayed a little bit, we're actually getting a little bit more Scrabble than we bargained for. Although I do have to, so just for the record, it's not going to matter too much, I don't think, but I need to play my own game of Scrabble. Oh, wow, that is shocking to play that. So wait a second, he just played Piroque, leaving an A. That's really surprising to me because opening a triple lane in that way is just very scary, a very scary proposition. That's a shocker to me. Amazingly, though, Charles does not have a way to do much with it. I wonder if he can do something that... Yeah, that was played for content. That's definitely a content play. I would have made that play if I was streaming. Just not throwing for content, but doing something exciting for content. Yeah, I'm surprised by that. And sure enough, Charles is basically saying, "Okay, I would rather not close it down and hope that he doesn't think it's a threat and leaves it open." But of course, he blocks it very quickly. Okay, so this is big right here. So Regales and Albi is played up, but I'm pretty sure that will he have... Oh, I guess maybe there's no actual bingo playable with Meagers with the R spelling. Was Weaseler a word? Oh my god. Weaseler. Okay, so wow. That looks very unfamiliar to me, so there's a good sign that I need to do a little studying. But I don't think that's going to end up mattering too much. Maybe it will, actually. The score is kind of close. So with a short play here that doesn't score very well, I think the worst thing that David could do here is take a low score and admire his bingo tiles too much. He definitely needs to score something here. Even if, yeah, I think gamers might be a reasonable idea, just to go up by enough that even another bingo is probably not enough. You might be able to score, you might be able to not open such easy lanes. There must be a way. Oh, Gamgee. Okay, so weird 6, Colin 6 of Gamgee, definitely better. That is better. So that's funny. Lord of the Rings fans, maybe we'll get to see Gamgee be played in this game. Messenger. Messenger would be a very plausible word, and that could sort of maybe look so obvious at first glance, unless you think about it, that it might stay on the board a lot of the time. I am not the highest ranked player in the world. I have certain rankings that are high in certain countries. I am definitely not the highest ranked player in the world, and nor would I want to be with the paltry skill that I show on a regular basis. But yes, highest ranked streamer. Thank you. How the F do we have over 50 viewers? Because it's the Virtual World Cup, and the Virtual World Cup is one of the most exciting events on the online Scrabble calendar that there's ever been. 16 teams from around the world send 5 of their strongest players to compete in a World Cup style event. What's not to love? It's absolutely electric, and it has been electric for 3 weeks, and it's only going to get better as we reach the bracket stage. Yeah, I bet the numbers are going to be really high once we get to the bracket. So David with a good think here. He is thinking really long on this, and he should be, because every game is really important to both teams here. And he's got to come up with something that doesn't let him. Oh, Patrick's mood settings on ISC are incorrect, preventing Edwin from being able to match him. Oh, okay. All right, so Gam is played. That's kind of a good compromise between opening the board all the way. Oh, do we have this? Yeah, okay. So this screen is already correct. Okay, Youth is played in response. And the great thing about this now is Youth is played nearly instantly. Wow, does David have anything with this crazy rack with 4 E's? Because there are definitely things now that Charles could have that play in 2 spots, right? Like if he has Banshee and Shebeen, he will win, right? He'll have a bingo here and here. So I don't know if he has. So there's definitely racks now that Charles could have that are basically auto wins, right? I don't see how David is going to be able to score enough points to outrun both of the bingo spots that he has to deal with. So what other racks are in there other than that? Other than Banshee and Shebeen, let's see. Dasheen. That doesn't really fit anywhere, I don't think. Beheads, yeah. So probably the best thing to do is to do something blocking this lane, right? Because there are probably more things available there than just starting with S and Munts. So what's the best way to do that? I don't know. Let's think. Maybe just something, what if you do something like, what letter do we want to end here that prevents hooks? Looking. Maybe there is no letter that goes there. N, yeah, there we go, N. Oh my God, beheads! Beheads! So literally burning the blank on that turn. Burning the blank and playing the N was the difference between winning and losing. You had to play your blank there. Oh my God. So again, as I said when I wanted to play something in that spot, I said to myself, what can I put here that doesn't take an S? And then in the chat, Jello Mocha said N. And I was like, oh yeah, of course. You just put an N there. And there you have it. Oh my God, that is a huge win for Team Ghana. Wow, incredible. All right, so if we go back to the matchup coverage, we see that the number 2 seeds came up, Ghana. The number 3 seeds, a thrilling come from behind win for Charles against David. Another round going for Ghana. All right, so between Chris Plaka and Chris Okiyama, the 2 Chris's playing, how did that game turn out? Ooh, big win for Kenya in that round. So that's going to be one for Kenya. In the chat, we've already seen comments from our directors, Coco Scrabble, trying to get the number 1 seeds from both teams ready to play. It looks like they just started their game. But the number 5 seeds are probably... Oh, wow, these guys are not that far underway either. So we've got 2 games now still unfolding. This is the game between the top seeds. It looks like we've gotten these 2 players off and running to start their game. So we can now watch this critical game between the top 2 players. Right now, the score of the match is 11-11. Let me get that updated. 11-11. So every game from here on out, absolutely critical. And we can follow this game from the start, which is great. Hoping against hope for really good internet. Let's everybody Let's everybody send a spirit bomb of internet packets to Patrick Latunya and hope that his connection holds up for the duration of this game. We don't want this marred by him having to be on and offline. So, all right. We can watch this game. Okay, so let me get the racks are wrong. There we go. Okay, so Kenya's Patrick Latunya going first, and Ghana's Edwin Boama responding with his rack of a bunch of consonants and an E. He plays Waddy. That looks pretty good. Also, I put a U in the wrong spot of my quackle. So he had wedgies N. That looked pretty good, right? So he left ENGS. That looks nice. Thank you, Powell, for that confirmation. So we have received from Powell, who is helping out with tallying the scores on behalf of Team Kenya, confirming that the score is 11-11. So again, what is at stake? This is Kenya's last chance to keep their hopes of making the bracket alive. So we are in week 3 of pool play. All 16 teams divided into 4 groups of 4. 2 teams from each of those groups advance. Kenya must win this matchup. They are tied 11-11 right now. And if Kenya does win, they need a Singapore loss to Canada as well. They need help from that matchup. On the other hand, we see some Singaporean team members in the chat that are rooting hard for Ghana, because if Ghana comes out on top, their ticket is punched to the bracket based on tiebreakers in their favor that are too great to overcome. So a lot still at stake in this match. And we are watching the number 1 seeds of both players, the aces of both teams, going at it right now. As we see Via be played by Patrick there. So in the early going, it's a bit of a slow start, but I'm pretty sure we are about to see a bingo, and sure enough, we do see Kesting. That is the best possible play for Edwin for 86. Really, really nice play. Powell says, let's play an ISC later. Of course we can, but I have to, after this match is complete, I got to eat something, and then I have to play Ireland. The United States team will be playing next after this matchup on twitch.tv/Coco Scrabble. So I am booked for a little while this afternoon. I'm playing 5 games against the best players from Ireland, but I'm always happy to play another time. So another bingo is going to be coming down in response to Edwin's for Patrick here. I see a lot of people calling out the bingos that are available. Definitely stuff through the U. Also, just torsive is available. And that's what comes down. Torsive opening up 2 triple word scores, which hopefully when you make a play like torsive, you just hope that you get good enough letters to hit at least one of the 2 triples. Oops, my arrow's not looking correct, but you get the point, 1 here and 1 here. So if you can just trade scores to the triple word score after a play like that, you'll be happy. But actually, it's going to work out even better than that for Patrick, who opening up 2 triples, but Edwin does not have a good way to do much to hit hard. He has all 1-point tiles. It doesn't look like they bingo, and they're not going to score that well to the triple either. So I think the best thing he can do is probably balance his rack and hope to bingo with these 1-point tiles on his next turn. The problem is that the board is not great for his letters. It would be much better if he had an S because of the SCAW hook being available, and I suppose also torsives. So yeah, we'll see. News just in. Coco gives a walkover in Ghana's favor in round 3, which I think is fair given the problems that Patrick had. Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's see here. If we're going to give that to Ghana, we have this game being played, and then let's just quickly check in. on the number 5 seeds. No, so we have 2 games yet to go. This is a really important one, and it looks like Kenya is up in it. Nice play. It looks like Confound was just played by Josh Manyasa against Michael Kwao. So, all right, let's just cut back to the game we were watching. We'll try to give updates. Oh my God, missed some big stuff here. Really big stuff. So Lauer was played, and then Prex in response immediately, and then Jur for a bunch of points up high. Okay, so after all that, the flurry of plays, the score is still absolutely incredibly close. 2-point game in favor of Patrick. Let's cut back to this, and we will get the scores looking correct. There. Okay. So I think everything here is looking correct with the flags and the names. Yes. All right. So I'm going to reflect the score to show that Ghana is being awarded a win in round 3, which I think is, we're trying to speed this along. So playing another match after this one for Patrick would extend the length of this match far beyond what the players bargained for. I think we're already beyond that a little. So we will show the score as 12-11, and 2 games right now are in the balance. This game in round 5 between the number 1, undip. I am not sure that's a word. This could be big. That would be a big challenge. I really don't think undip is a word. Yeah, the undip, and off it comes. Ooh, that is a big swing right there. Definitely some valid words that could have been played. And immediately Oaf is played for 30 in response. A very nice scoring, balancing play. So that could be the break that Edwin needs to take command, and literally, if Kenya wants to win, they need to win both of the remaining games. Kenya's Josh Manyasa is ahead of Michael Kwao in the other game, but this game's still very much hanging in the balance. Okay, we see dupe be played after undip, that little mistake that could end up looming really large in this game. Edwin holding decent bingo tiles, but obviously the B and the M together, not that helpful. So he's going to, I would probably be looking for something in this area to play in this triple if I could, but at the same time, you might be tempted to just play BE or something, keeping that really nice sleeve, right? So if he plays just BE in that spot, keeping these letters are going to bingo to the D a lot of the time. They'll probably bingo to the R a fair amount of the time. So also you stand a chance of hitting something with oft. So he plays bent and etat instead, which I feel that might give up a little bit too much in the way of bingo chances for not enough score, right? He could have just played BE here for only 1 fewer point than he just got. We'll see how it works out. So bent is played, and then chin immediately goes down, getting rid of that Q for Patrick, and he is trailing by only 1 point here. Wow, okay, Whammo suggested. Oh yeah, player names are switched. Thank you. That was my fault. Very good. Thanks for that. Okay, Whammo is played. 56 points for Edwin. That is a big swing. So clanged and glanced is gonna play for 90. Oh man, oh boy. Okay, so right as Edwin takes a pretty commanding lead, he has Patrick has a great chance to grab it right back, and he plays it glanced for 90. Ouch. Both blanks are still yet to be played as well, so Patrick could easily have drawn one on that turn. So Edwin must have felt pretty good after Whammo taking such a nice lead, but he just got hit with a natural bingo, no blanks in it. Yeah, I see definitely the best play is Meshui, which you can see here. I have Quackle up for this now. You can see is easily the best play by valuation. Let me just move that a little so you can see. By far the best play by, so you can definitely play things. Ooh, that looks like a oof. Okay, so I'm wondering if you didn't look quite hard enough for plays parallel to Whammo, which if you didn't spot Meshui, you definitely could still play in this spot here for really, really high score. So high for 22 doesn't look enough. He really, really needs to get a huge draw after that. Patrick did not draw a blank, though. He did not draw a blank. Ooh, okay, so is played in that spot where potentially Edwin could have played Osh for almost 40 points. Wow, this game is getting exciting, and it definitely has great, great importance, right? So a win by Kenya in this game would clinch, but let's just quickly pop over to the other game between the 5 seeds and see what's happening. Just a quick update. Oh my God, this one is just as close. Okay, so this game was actually pretty firmly in command for Kenya, but now Michael Quao has seized command of the game. So let's just cut back to this one. But obviously a win for Ghana here would render this last game irrelevant. Okay, so we see clean be played from that rack. That's interesting. So clean left OU on Patrick's rack, and it looks like, oh, wait a second. Sorry, on Edwin's rack. Right. Edwin left that, and it looks like Patrick has drawn the first blank, which I should definitely play here. You should definitely be able to play something. I'm thinking just statist right off the bat. If he spots statist, that's going to play with lids for a solid score, and that's going to really almost demand that Edwin hit a bingo on his next turn. So we'll see. This is getting tight. So let's see if he gets this bingo down, because actually the other game looks like it's in much more danger right now for Kenya. Kenya needs both of the 2 remaining games in order to pull this off. So, yeah, reconsider round 3. That's really not my decision. I'm just covering the event. It's Coco's decision to run the tournament as they see fit. I think I support their decision just because, again, we're asking the players to be on for a certain amount of time, and they have to have their connection in order to compete. That's just how it is. Okay, Cats is played. Yeah, that does look potentially better than bingoing here, because it scores quite well and sets up a pretty good spot for you to bingo in the future with a ST word or something like that. So pretty solid lead now for Patrick. Back to Edwin, who has not drawn the second blank and has drawn a bunch of vowels. He plays Obes. I'm very uncertain that I want to use the S there. I really don't think I like playing the S there for not that many more points. Leaving just AIU behind. I think the S is critical just to potentially draw something even with lids. And just to increase your chance of drawing stuff elsewhere on the board. I don't think it gives you that much extra score, and really would have pumped up his bingo percentage, which he needs badly. But either way, good spot to play 35 points in that spot. But now I think we're going to see, oh, well, you know what? There is a chance that leaving set, yeah, I think the key of using the S, all right, I might have spoke too soon, because the point of using the S there might have been to leave 7 in the bag, such that when Patrick bingos, Edwin has a chance to counter bingo and easily win the game, right? He can easily win the game because he's going to catch him with F and Z. Oh my God. So that actually using the S there, oh man, you give up. I don't think necessarily Obes was the correct play, but Obes might have actually been better than just Obe, right? For the reason that we're about to see. By using the extra letter, he ensured that after a bingo by Patrick, there are no tiles left in the bag, 0. Had he left the S off, there would still be 1 left. Out lane, there we go. That's any bingo is enough. Any bingo there is enough. So, oh, that is a sick one. That is a sick one, and that is going to deliver a win for Ghana. Amazing. That's it. There's nothing left. And let me just see what happened in the other game. In the other game, Michael Quao was able to come out on top against Josh Manyasa. So actually, that is the best case outcome for everybody because we now do not need to play the final game that was formerly adjudicated, even without that game between Patrick in round 3 and where was it? Patrick and Chris in round 3. They don't even need that because we have a win for Michael Quao and a win for Edwin, and that is going to put the score up to 14-11. So even had this game, which was adjudicated in favor of Ghana, if that game in round 3, which I just put up, had that game been slated to be played now, the result would be irrelevant. It would still be, at worst, a 13-12 win for Ghana over Kenya. Wow. Oh my gosh. That is a crazy, crazy finale. So congratulations to Team Ghana on winning this match. Wasn't the out bingo game a Kenyan win? No, I must have had the flags wrong for much of it. I did fix it now. Hold on. History. I had the flags wrong for most of the game, but you can see that they are actually correct. They were corrected thanks to Powell. So in that game without Lane, it led to Edwin winning 468-447. Pretty amazing. That a lot to dig your teeth into there. All right. So anyway, again, so we'll just cut back to the pool play standings. You can see we don't need the win totals here. You can see that Ghana comes out on top over Kenya. Actually, we do need the win totals. So let me see. How will this play out? It looks like Kenya is going to drop to 1 and 2. And Ghana is going to improve to 1 and 2. And let me tell you why this matters so much for Singapore. Why was Team Singapore rooting so hard for Ghana? Because when you look at the second tiebreaker, so the numbers after the records are the individual wins that both teams have. You can see Ghana had 14 wins today, bringing their total to 30. Kenya with 11 wins today, bringing their total to 31. And you can see that even if Singapore loses every single game in their matchup with Canada, which is coming later this weekend, you see it in the little white square on the screen right there. The next matchup is in a little bit more than an hour between the United States versus Ireland. But then Singapore plays Canada, and Singapore could go 0-25, and they would still hold the tiebreaker of individual wins against Kenya and Ghana both. So congratulations are in order to Ghana for winning today's match and for Singapore for clinching their ride into the bracket with Ghana's win. So that was the importance of today's matchup. And yeah, you can see here are the rest of the broadcasts that are slated to be taking place. It is right now, it's almost 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So as I said, in about an hour and 15 minutes, we are going to have the United States versus Ireland over on the Coco Scrabble channel. So once again, just quickly cutting back to the matchup coverage, you can see today it was a 14-11 win for Ghana over Kenya. Really exciting games. Thank you, everybody, for watching and enjoying the games with me. Hope you enjoyed the coverage. It was a little frenetic at times with matchups starting at different times, internet connections happening, but I think it was still a really fun match. So with that, I have to go eat and get ready to play Scrabble myself. I feel great. I'm ready to play. So head on over to Coco Scrabble's Twitch channel in a little bit more than an hour, and you might see me again. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for the bits. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's fun. It's it's a little crazy, but I had a lot of fun. So thanks everybody for hanging out, and check in with Coco's channel in an hour, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow, actually, as I'm doing a couple more matches to wind things down in week 3 of pool play at the Virtual World Cup. Thanks for watching, everybody. Catch you later.